Hi, I'm Peter J. Ray. Welcome. Today's topic is Resalest Remarkable Books 51. The first book today is Miss Small is Off the Wall, My Weird School by Dan Gutman, 2005. This is a very, very funny children's book. This character, Miss Small, is a funny PE teacher, gym teacher, who makes PE and gym fun for boys and girls and gets the teachers and principals to play during lunch. Pretty funny. And anyway, yeah, this is a wonderful topic because, traditionally gym teachers, PE teachers have been pretty strict, and it's been some kids are kind of traumatized, by the situation, by the class itself, the physical being, maybe they're clumsy or physically weak. Anyway, so it really should be, sports should be fun for children. Physical play should be fun, and so this is a very good idea that this author is promoting. The next book is Ricky Ricotta's Mighty Robot versus the Voodoo Vultures from Venus by Dav Pilkey and Martin Ontiveros, 2001. Well, this is another one in the series about the story of this mouse and a giant robot who saved the world again. So more from Dav Pilkey, the creator of Captain Underpants, who branched out created another series. So really, really good for younger children who are fairly young. These are pretty simple books to read. The next book is Drax Slumber Party, Monster Kids by Gertrude Gruesome, also known as Paige McBriar, 1995. Very funny children's book. Drax is this character. He's living the life of an American teenager. His friends come to his birthday party, and his relatives show up, real vampires, and the results are hilarious. Of course, children are interested in monsters and, Frankenstein and so forth, and Dracula. And I guess that's why they call this boy Drax. Anyway, vampires are appealing to children, and this is a nice children's book that has vampires and comedy. Very, very funny and creative. Good job. The next book is The Adventures of Stuart Little by Gregory J. Booker and M. Night Shyamalan, 1999. This is a story about a mouse that is adopted by a human family. There's action, love, danger, heroism, and a happy ending. Very funny. Ha ha ha. Anyway, Stuart Little. I think they made a movie about this, but with this I guess the mouse can talk, and it's part of the family. Very, very nice story. The next book is Lizzy Logan, Second Banana by Eileen Spinelli, 1998. Well, this is a wonderful children's book. Lizzy, this character, she's 9 years old. Her mother is pregnant, and she's worried that her parents will love the new baby more. The beginning of sibling rivalry. Just imagine this unborn sibling doesn't even know. He's already resented by the older sibling. And, this is a reality in family life, and one of the challenges in relations between brothers and sisters and among siblings, because, competing for the parents' love and attention. So very interesting, and it gets into this in a children's book format. Wonderful. The next book is Second Grade Friends Again by Miriam Cohen, 1984. Another children's book, little kids. And the things that go on in the story are playing, sports, school, baseball, being overweight, jealousy, blame, humor, forgiveness, and friendship renewed. These different things that are going on not only with children, but with adults as well. Sports is a big part of being a kid, school, being overweight, kids making fun of you, and so forth. And jealousy is a challenge, being blamed for something. Comedy helps, and we need to forgive. And friendship is so important for children and really for all walks of life. The next book is Who Was Ada Lovelace? The Computer Wizard of Victorian England by Lucy Lethbridge, 2003. Oh, this is a tremendous children's book. The daughter of the famous poet Lord Byron, her name was Ada Lovelace, and she worked with Charles Babbage around 1834 to build the first computer. Boy, I didn't know that. Good history. I didn't know computers went that far back. So this is a good children's book with some very interesting and obscure history. Just imagine 1834, the first computer built by this individual, this lady, Ada Lovelace, daughter of Lord Byron. I had a friend, Lord Byron, who was a famous poet. He went to Greece to try to help liberate Greece from the Turks and the Ottoman Empire years ago, and he died. And so I have a friend who's a Greek American, and I think his name is Byron. He's very popular in school. I said, we should have called you Lord Byron, and he was named after Lord Byron. This fellow who was into the ancient Greeks, and the Aristotle, Socrates, and Plato, and so forth, and believed and thought, they should be independent of Turkish rule. Very interesting. The next book is Journey by Patricia McLaughlin, 1991. It's a very touching children's book, touching story. An 11-year-old boy, and his name is Journey. His father left, and his mother left, both his parents, so he was really abandoned, but he wound up being cared for by his mother's parents, who love him and his older sister Kat, and they have a good life on the farm of his mother's parents. So this is wonderful. That tragic that he lost his parents. That they gave up. They gave up. They abandoned their responsibility. But God loves us, and the parents of the mother stepped in and did a good job of raising this boy and his sister. Very touching story. The next book is Aliens in America by Sandra Tsing Loh, 1997. Wonderful children's book. Sandra, this character, her mother is German, the father is Chinese. She grew up in Los Angeles, and they take vacations in Ethiopia in East Africa. Wow, very international. And while they're there, they have an encounter with Eritrean rebels. Interesting. Eritrea, which actually became independent of Ethiopia, small country in East Africa. And then his old father's, or Sandra's old father's new Chinese wife, and I can't remember what happened to his original mother, brings healing of a childhood trauma through ballet. Sandra has a wonderful spirit, so this is very, very interesting. The world is so international today, all these different countries and getting in intermarriage. We have children whose parents are from different countries, and maybe they're living in a third country. Fascinating. Wonderful book. The next book is Second Grade Star. It's time for the spring concert, and Kelly wants to be a ... by Nancy Alberts, 1996. This is a beautiful children's book. It gets into, it's all about childhood, the desire for fame. Even children want to be famous. And family life, adult ignorance about the life of children, jealousy, fear, work, teamwork, victory, and beauty. Wonderful story that all these different things that are in life. Fame is a strong desire, universal desire. Fear, we have to work, and we have to work together, and we can have victory. And so, very, very wonderful book. Really enjoyed it. The next book is Ernie Harwell's Diamond Gems by Ernie Harwell and Jeff Upward, 1991. This is a baseball book. Ernie Harwell was the longtime Detroit Tigers baseball radio announcer for many years. And I know back in the 70s, once in a while I would get the Tigers games on the radio because I grew up here in the Cleveland area. And I didn't really like Ernie. Of course, I didn't listen to Ernie Harwell that much. I always thought that the Cleveland Indians broadcasters were better, Joe Tate and Herb Score, back in the 70s. But anyway, Ernie Harwell had a long career, must have done a good job because he kept his job for a long time and reported on those, called those games of the Detroit Tigers in the 70s. Guys like, Willie Horton and Mickey Lolich, Bill Freehand, those star players in the 1970s. Well, into the 80s and, I guess into the early 1990s. Very interesting. The next book is Cockroach Cooties by Lawrence Yep, 2000. Oh, I thought this was an outstanding book. It's another children's book. This Chinese-American, it's about Chinese-American children in San Francisco getting bullied and using a cockroach for defense. Very funny. Yeah, this really caught my attention. This boy, somehow he had a pet cockroach, he was getting bullied, so he decided to use this as a defense. Didn't know what to do. And this is, when you're a kid and you're getting bullied, you don't know what to do. What am I supposed to do? And it can be a real nightmare. So he used this cockroach when this bully came to get him. And most people are pretty disgusted by cockroaches, don't want anything to do with them, maybe even kill them in the Philippines. It seems like they kill them all the time in the Philippines whenever they see them. We'd have them in our home, and I didn't want to kill them. I'd just tell them, you guys, please go away. I remember this cockroach used to come and was crawling into I was sleeping on the floor in a sleeping bag, and it was crawling in under my neck, and I said, you got to get out of here, and kept coming back. So I don't know what I did, if I threw it away. I didn't want to kill it. But anyway, this boy, he's not afraid of cockroaches. So he has this, he brings one with him in a small plastic container, I believe. And then when this bully would come, he'd take it out and say, here. And the bully was scared, so it worked. Very interesting. Good story. The next book is In Such a Place by Lynn Fairbridge, 1992. This book is set in South Africa. And there's a teenager from Canada. Yes, they moved from Canada to South Africa. And there's a racism, injustice, poverty, suffering, love, courage, danger, fear, heroism, helping, tears, and joy. Wow, the whole kaleidoscope of human emotions and experiences, and the things we go through, the things we enjoy, things we don't enjoy, and very international. Of course, racism is one of the sad things in life. Poverty, suffering, love. Well, that makes things better. We need to be brave, and there is danger in the world, and sometimes we're scared, but we need to be heroic. We need to help each other. It's okay to cry, but there is joy waiting for all of us because God loves us, so everything's okay. Wonderful book. The next book is The 7 Days of Kwanzaa and How to Celebrate Them by Angela Shelf Medeiros, 1994. Well, this is very interesting. This is this African-American holiday that was developed, and it goes on for a week, from December 26th to January 1. And it's the whole purpose is to celebrate pride in the African heritage and of African Americans and the African American experience. And Marcus Garvey is mentioned. He was a Jamaican immigrant to the United States, and he was promoting pride for the people, because in the slavery days and after slavery, African Americans felt ashamed, and they lost their culture, and they'd been slaves and so forth. That itself is very depressing and humiliating. Anyway, so this is a nice thing. You don't hear about Kwanzaa that much anymore, and for a while it was more popular. But this is a nice book that talks all about and they should they have their heritage. Should be proud. We should all be proud of our heritage and our ancestors. Very important. The next book is Santa Paws by Nicholas Edwards, 1995. Wow, this is a beautiful book, and it's about an abandoned dog who, in this town, small town, it wanders around town, and dogs are noble creatures, and they're good, and they're good natured. Well, some of them can be mean if they've really been mistreated. Anyway, this was a dog that had been abandoned, and it saved an old woman who fell on her cold driveway. So it was, I guess, in the course of its travels around town, this woman had fallen and was able to, I guess it was barking to get help. It couldn't really do anything itself. It also, another time, it stopped vandals who were up to no good. Also, it helped a depressed woman. I know at one point this woman was in a church, and she was really, really depressed, and she was in there praying, And the dog, dogs have strong intuition, and they know what's going on. They're very smart. This dog came in. Dogs want to help. This dog came in and came up to this woman, and knew the woman needed some comfort. So that's what it did, and she felt it was kind of an answer to her prayers, and she made her feel better. And this dog also helped a homeless family, a kitten in danger, and a family in their burning home. So all these different things. It was kind of like the TV show Lassie. Even though it was abandoned and homeless, it was trying to do good, trying to help people, because that's what dogs are. Dogs are man's best friend. And finally, this dog found its own home on Christmas Day. And it was a very heroic dog that they named after St. Nicholas, so it got the name Santa Paws. This family, so it finally had a happy ending, and all these good things this dog had done. Wow, amazing, wonderful story. The next book is Censorship by Judy Monroe, 1990. This is a young people's book about censorship of the printed words and moving pictures. Who decides and why? What's bad? Very interesting topic, because we have this, it's very debatable. What's appropriate? And seems like now you turn on the TV and all the things that are on television now in movies, and it's really very troubling. But and then the issue is like, the government. There used to be. I'm not sure how much is going on now, but anyway, it's all debatable. What's objectionable, and it's also political, and there are political agendas. So this is an interesting topic. Ultimately, we all have to have a better sense of right and wrong, so these things aren't promoted and people enjoying them, the things that are wrong. And you really can't have the government as a watchdog. We have to get our act together and do the right thing. And because who's to say the people in government can have a strong sense of right and wrong? Very interesting, important topic. The next book is Fathers Playing Catch with Sons: Essays on Sport by Donald Hall, 1985. Well, I'm a father and I'm a son, and this topic, it's very touching. Playing catch, it's kind of like the ultimate, playing catch with your father or with your son. And at least for me, that's my experience. This book talks about Doc Ellis, who is a baseball player, the whole issue of pitchers versus batters, intimidation, fights, high school. There's a high school sports writer, ping pong, basketball, Kevin McHale from the NBA, football, college football, pro, the University of Michigan, college football corruption, and the brutality of American football. So this is really a cornucopia of different, these essays on sport. And anyway, I think it's, I love the title, I guess, because and if you watch a couple baseball movies, Field of Dreams, the guy Kevin Costner plays catch with his father, at least the ghost of his father who had died. And also The Natural, that ends also with the guy playing catch with his son. And, that's the thing. I know when our son was born, I couldn't wait for him to grow up so I could play catch with him. And when he was just a baby, I put a small ball in his hand, maybe a ping pong ball, and he flung his arms out, and the ball went flying, and I said, I'm playing catch with my son. Because to me, that was kind of the ultimate experience for me, playing catch, throwing a baseball back and forth between father and son that I did with my father and then later with my son. So very, very nice, very touching. The next book is Crash by Jerry Spinelli, 1996. This is a beautiful story, beautiful book. And there's the two characters, there's a nerd and a jock. And, the nerd, of course, a nerd is a guy who's a good student, kind of pretty smart, but not that athletic. And, of course, the jock is the athlete. And at the beginning of the story, they're enemies, the nerd and the jock, but they become best friends. So that's nice. So it talks about jocks, athletes, heroes, violence, cruelty, and kindness and love. Yeah, we have to get along with each other, and there should be respect. Because actually the nerd should be respected because, he's developing his mind. And then the jock should be respected because, courage is important, physical courage, actually, in life. We have to have physical courage, and that's what the athlete has. So, and they can help, we can help each other. We need to develop like the ideals of the ancient Greeks, to develop our minds, to develop our bodies, to develop artistically, and develop our spirit, our spiritual aspect. So very, very interesting. Jerry Spinelli is a fine children's book author. Wonderful. The next book is The Jew in American Sports by Harold V. Ribelau, 1963. Well, he talks about some of these famous Jewish athletes over the years in baseball, boxing, football, and basketball. Hank Greenberg was a tremendous power-hitting baseball player for the Detroit Tigers. Al Rosen, who played for Cleveland, and big power hitter at third base. And later he was a general manager for the New York Yankees. Benny Leonard, Benny Friedman, who played in Cleveland for the Cleveland NFL team years ago, before the Browns back in the 20s. Sid Luckman, also in the NFL. Dolph Schayes, who was in the NBA. Yeah, Benny Friedman was the Cleveland Bulldogs quarterback years ago. So very interesting. And Heroic Sons of Israel, the Jewish people, very talented people. Yeah, so this is a real interesting book. The next book is Pigs Might Fly by Dick King Smith, 1980. Wow, this is a children's book. There's a young pig that learns how to swim and is taught by a duck. When a flood comes, the pig swims for help, with help from the duck and an otter. And in the story, the animals are heroes. The flood comes, all are saved. The pig farmer is saved from drowning by the pig and the duck. Interesting, yeah. So it's very creative, and you wonder if any of this could come true. But you never know. Animals often are smarter than we give them credit for, if we are willing to, or at least try to understand the way they're trying to communicate with us. And very often we don't even try. The next book is Where Is He Now? By Jack Drees and Jim C. Mullen, 1973. Well, the author wanted to get in touch with fellows from athletic people, athletes from the past, and see what was going on with them. So he found guys like Larry McPhail, Johnny Blood, who was a tremendous NFL player, Bronco Nagurski also, he played for the Chicago Bears, tremendous player, Archie Moore, boxer, Jesse Owens, the great Olympic athlete, runner, Enos Slaughter, baseball player, Sammy Baugh, the Washington Redskins quarterback, Bobby Thompson, who hit the home run in 1951, the one put the Giants in the World Series, Duke Snider played for the old Brooklyn Dodgers, and Dusty Rhodes on the old New York Giants baseball team. So this is a pretty old book, 1973, but he was looking, and all those guys are long gone now. So he did a good job, those two authors. The next book is Two of a Kind, Likes Me Not, number 16, by Mary Kate and Ashley and Megan Stein, 2001. This is a TV series. They're two twin girls at a boarding school. Boys and parties and dances. And does he like me? There's girls who, it's the whole boy-girl thing, right? That can start when you're during childhood and adolescence. And eventually, when we get older, it's, then people get married. And I remember seeing this movie, it was, I think, Mississippi Burning, where the guy said that the women, they said they spend 4 years of high school trying to find a husband, and then they spend the rest of their lives wondering why they, married the guy they did. But anyway, hopefully kids don't have to grow up too fast and get into the whole boy-girl thing too soon, because there's plenty of time for that, and they need to just, have time to grow up and do things and to develop. The next book is Soup, 1776 by Robert Newton Peck, 1995. This is a swell book. Wonderful. The good old days. It's a story set in a small town with farming boys. Really funny. There's a donkey, a bully, there's history, crazy old guy, teachers, school, July 4th celebration, revisionist history, and comedy. So I guess it's set in 1776. Can't really remember. but I know I enjoyed it very much, and the author Robert Newton Peck did a wonderful job. The next book is Tuck Triumphant by Theodore Taylor, 1991. So this is the sequel to the original Tuck book, The Trouble with Tuck, I believe. And the characters in the book are 14-year-old Helen, her mom, her dad, 2 older brothers, their blind dog Tuck. Remember, Tuck had gone blind in the earlier story. And then they got a seeing eye dog for Tuck. Wonderful. And then there's a deaf Korean, a 6-year-old orphan. Well, and there's adventure, danger, tragedy, courage, and drama. So this is a very entertaining story, and lots going on. And the things that people enjoy in entertainment, and if they're watching in a movie, and it's good for, of course, it's good for children to read books. That's why I'm making these videos, to try to promote books, because I think actually books are more entertaining than television and movies. It's just that TV and movies are easier, and that's why people watch them so much. And books have kind of been gone by the wayside, but when we read books, we get smarter, and ultimately they are more fulfilling. So hopefully we can have a revival of books, since there's been such a decline, since people are bored in school and they watch TV. So it's really too bad. That's why we're making these videos promoting books. The next book is Martin's Mice by Dick King Smith, 1988. This is an outstanding children's book. Beautiful story of a farm cat named Martin who loves mice. Yeah, interesting. A cat that, usually in the old days you'd have a catter on the farm to hunt mice, to kill the mice, because the mice would be eating the grain, the corn or whatever. And according to this book, pigs are the smartest farm animals. Didn't know that. Pigs. You have some of these people you meet that are they really enjoy pigs, and then you have the vegans who are really against. They want people to stop eating bacon and so forth. So this is really interesting. And so the funny story, the farm cat who loves mice, doesn't want to kill them, and then he's, of course, not really fulfilling his function as a farm cat. Very interesting. The next book is Echoes of the White Giraffe by Suk Newell Choi, 1993. Very interesting book. It's set in the Korean War, between North Korea and South Korea. It was part of the Cold War. The Communist China and the Soviet Union were supporting North Korea, and the United States and other allies were supporting South Korea. And there was a standoff. Korea is still divided as a result of the Korean War and the conflict, the international conflict that happened there. So this character is named Suk-han and her family. They are refugees from Seoul living in Busan during the Korean War. They miss their father and 3 brothers. There's school, war, love, shame, sadness, joy, and triumph. Fascinating topic. It's an ongoing issue. Of course, North Korea, the whole issue with Kim Jong-un, and this ongoing conflict between North and South Korea, and North Korea's threats, and the suffering of the North Korean people. Terrible. And the Chinese support for North Korea, which is really shameful. The North Korean government would collapse without Chinese support. So, and then the Chinese actually arrest North Korean refugees, because life is so tough in North Korea. So they leave the country. So anyway, it appears we're out of time. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you find a good book to read, and God bless you, and I'll see you next time.